Hello, everyone. It's been quite a while, but welcome to the belated edition of Casual Mode. Man, how long has it been since we did the last one? It's been
I
like
believe our
several
last
months.
episode was Saga Frontier, which is like April.
Oh
Right.
man, yeah, it's like been like 3 months, then maybe a little bit more. So we're playing Fuga Melodies of Steel today. The game's not out yet. It's coming out on the 29th, but we did get an early copy, and by the time this is live, I probably will be editing my video review for it, hopefully. And also, by the time this is live, you should be able to see our Great Ace Attorney video review up on YouTube. So if you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. It took a lot of time and effort for me
Well,
to
by
get
the
that done in
time people come to this video, the game will be out like in a day, if not already. So
Yeah, well, either way, so felt like it was a little bit weird maybe to do a casual mode when I'm also going to be doing a video review, but then I realized nobody's talking about this game. Nobody really knows what the gameplay is like. It's like Cyber Connect 2, they're doing their best, but maybe they chose the worst possible time to release this game, considering it's 2 days after Ace Attorney and The World Ends With You.
yeah,
I honestly don't know what they were thinking.
It's a
with
busy
that.
week.
Does it cover a different kind of niche?
Well, it's an RPG, a strategy RPG, which you'll see in a little bit. But
yeah, let's get going.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a new save file. Temporary data will be lost. Yeah, that's fine. It's like what, 5 minutes I'm gonna lose? Maybe 4.
Like suspend data, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tank from Slug.
So yeah, this is one of those games that starts in media res, not very far into the game. Like this is just really, really early on. But so yeah, they're all in the tank. Why are they in the tank? They're war orphans, and their parents were taken by the Burman army, and they found this tank in a cave, and they're like, we can use this to go rescue our parents. And suffering.
You just found this big ass tank in a cave.
Yep.
Cool. So this is it's from CyberConnect 2, right? And it's part of the Little Tail Bronx.
Yeah, it's a long-running franchise since the PlayStation 1 with Tail Concerto, and as you can hear, it's French.
Well, the two audio options are French or Japanese, right?
Yeah, and fun fact, the voice cast for the main characters are the same for French and Japanese. So it's, I'm not sure if it's actually bilingual or if they just had them read French lines, but I'd imagine that the voice direction was good because from what I understand, the majority of the development for this game was on CyberConnect 2 Montreal's side, or at least they had a lot of development assistance from them.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Leur refuge était un char de guerre, imposant comme une forteresse et violent comme une bête enragée.
So it's a bit of a weird situation where it's like, I don't know about everyone else, but I generally like to go with the dub that was the original intention for a game. So like Final Fantasy 16, just today we found out that the English audio was recorded first, so I'm going to play 16 in English audio. But for this one, like French and Japanese were recorded at the same time, but like all sorts of UI elements are French. The voice actors themselves are the same, and because it's kind of this World War I, World War II aesthetic, it feels more appropriate to listen to French audio, it feels like.
Plus, we just don't often get the chance to.
Nazi dogs.
Yeah, that's an appropriate
Yeah,
animal
soldiers.
for that.
But yeah, one thing about Little Tail Bronx that should be immediately obvious is all of the characters are, I'll just say it, they're furry.
Anthropomorphic.
They're,
We gotta be analytical about it.
That.
I don't know. It
I'm-
reminds me of like Secret and Nim or those Don Bluth shows.
Yeah.
I deal with it.
Yeah, CyberConnect 2 though, like like around the time Solita Robo came out in 2010, 2011, they actually had this thing called the Anthology Project where they could here we are in combat, so we'll get to that really quickly. So destroy your enemies with the 3-gun turrets on the giant tank Tyrannus. And the children place a gun turret will attack for skilled weapon type. So the actual type of gun that will be usable will depend on who you have manning the gun. So this is like, I guess it's one of those cases where anything sufficiently like advanced enough will look indistinguishable from magic. But somehow this tank knows what character's sitting at it and will change its gun accordingly. So so Hannah here has a grenade launcher, and you'll notice that there's a color. So grenade launchers are yellow, cannons are red, and machine guns are blue. And enemies will have an armor type that corresponds to it. And some of them will have multiples of either the same or different armor types. And the way you want the basics of the gameplay is that you see that clock symbol on the tank.
Mm-hmm.
If you use the right weapon against it, it'll delay the enemy once all of those clocks have been depleted.
Isn't
I
this
see a little timeline at the top.
Yep.
Isn't this like a Persona Shin Megami Tensei thing?
It's more like Grandia.
Oh wow,
That's-
God
that's-
Gamer as your technique needs
Your
work,
technique
buddy.
is D. Go do it again.
Yeah, pretty simple stuff. You get XP every time you finish a battle. You have an XP modifier based off of how well you do, so number of turns, damage received, and the technique. Then you also have items that you receive at the end of each encounter as well.
So it showed you had like 6 characters in the tank. Okay.
Your final main party is up to 12, and you have 6 on turrets and 6 on reserve. And the way it works is that you have one person manning a gun, and then you have someone that's actually on support with the same gun. And that'll give the attacks specific buffs or debuffs. So, for example, if you have Hannah here as the secondary for, let's say, Kyle, which is this other cat here, his attacks will actually leech HP. So not only will they deal damage, but it'll also replenish some of your health as well. And then there's all sorts of other like attributes that you can come across depending on which of the kids are in which position and whatnot.
It's weird how the
I like how you're go ahead.
I would say it's weird just how the art style and the gameplay kind of mask the fact that you're a bunch of children like at war.
Yeah, so anyways, the meat and potatoes of the game is the route progression. For the most part, it's usually a straight line. As you can see, there's different events on the map. So battles are those icons, health pickups at those types of waypoints. And then the bag icons for items, and then the one that's both a heart and a kind of sparkly is both a 2-for-1 HP plus SP or skill points replenish.
Is it randomized or is it more like
It's not randomized as far as I can
Okay.
tell. It might have been randomized at
Compare-a-vu.
one point because the game, at least for a certain amount of time, was going to be sort of like a roguelike. But then they decided against it, which I think was probably a good decision.
yeah, I could see how that could work in principle.
I like how your player cast are like these fuzzy, furry dogs and cats, and then the enemies are, of course, like short hair
The greyhounds. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, they can't be cute. They have to be like bloodhounds. Can't have a friendly hound.
No, well, watch the general be like a poodle or something.
There's a bulldog general.
Of course. So for this like first level, you really couldn't set your turrets and whatnot. It's just
Well,
a
this isn't
tutorial.
even the first level. This is just
Yeah.
this is just a tutorial, and I think right now it'll let me switch.
Because you
Oh,
have
okay.
the blue icon over there.
a formation. Oh, okay, here we go.
And, like, each character has skills, so Lullaby is like a healing skill, Double Strike is a double attack. What I'm gonna do is, oh, it's forcing me to do this first. Oh, that's what they wanted to. Okay.
They're not actually letting you make your own decision. They're just like, do this.
So one of the deals with changing your formations, you can only do it every 3 turns. So if you change up your formation, realize, oh shit, I should have had a different person in the support or a different person in the front lines, you're locked in. So you have to really be careful with who you decide to set to what.
I think that seems like smart design anyway. So even if you are, a master at matching up your turrets versus the enemy, you can't set it up every single turn for optimal, like
Right.
you have to be stuck with.
There's
your
some
decision for a
boundary
few turns
conditions.
before you
There's
can
some constraints.
right.
You don't just have free reign.
Exactly. Mhm. A, B, S, abs. Okay.
I don't really get how this ranking system goes. How come like this time they give you like an S rank for like technique and the last one's like a D?
La voix de la radio réconfortait les enfants. Mais le doute et la crainte de la suite des événements ne leur permettaient pas de savourer pleinement cette victoire.
I was gonna say like
I don't know.
Okay, we just run over the
Just
gear,
crush
to
over
get
it.
Yep. It's actually kind of funny.
Run over the repair kit.
Wow, they're
I
kids.
really
They don't know
do
how to
like
use it.
the animation for the tank.
Mhm.
So yeah, different enemies may sometimes have an armor ranking, which will increase your defense. Certain skills, primarily from machine gunners, have the ability to lower armor ranks. So, like, piercing shot will basically put a literal dent in the armor, so it's easier to deal damage.
And I see there's a little bit of give and take there, where the you say the machine gun has a skill that breaks armor, but that enemy has a red icon, which is what grenades? No, not grenades. Cannons.
Cannons, yeah. So yeah, it's like
So use your machine
and
guns
take.
first to lower the armor, and then your cannon to hit the delay.
Yep.
When you have the two characters paired up in a cannon and they're two different types, can you choose which one fires?
No, you can't, because
Okay.
that's specifically set for support. So, like I
Oh, I
said,
see.
if I attack,
Okay.
like I said, if I attack with Kyle now, well, we're max HP, but it would give me HP back. See?
Yeah. I like how the points acted like you might get an S on technique there, but nope, still just an A.
Yep. I do like how you actually see changes in the background as you're progressing down the timeline. So a little cutscene here.
Tout va bien se passer.
Yeah, there's these short story scenes. So far, the story isn't like a huge.
Les enfants commençaient à somnoler, comme si la tension
Focus?
les avait fait tenir debout jusqu'ici.
Yeah, it's not a huge focus. It's mostly the gameplay, but there is enough of it to keep you interested in that.
There's also a character bonding system eventually, right?
Yep. And here's the flashback.
This is before the war.
Or no, just I guess
Earlier that day.
Yeah, okay.
I really do like the art style here. It's a nice painterly, kinda.
Yeah. Mushi.
Fuzzy.
I love how it
Literally,
says one night,
yeah,
that
that
night.
night.
Geez, they really brought out like 7 Zeppelins to take out a little town. Come on.
Yep.
I like how they use a terrier type dog to give the anthropomorphic character a mustache.
Yeah.
Also, his name is Pretzel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the main character's name is Malt.
Yeah. It's a good name.
Yep. But yeah, they literally just find it in the cave.
I was about to say, how could they not have found it before? Oh, I guess it was forbidden.
I'm okay with that. Like, I don't need to
Yeah,
have
sure.
some weird contrived, I guess it is a contrived reason, but
Yep.
it's not quite the same thing. But a little bit the art style and the less so the art style, but more so the design and the setting kind of reminds me of like Great Mouse Detective, because it's set like
Yeah.
early 20th century or whatever.
Well, one thing that isn't immediately obvious is that one of the things with Little Tail Bronx is that it's kind of got a whole Skies of Arcadia thing where everything is set on giant like island sky continent things.
Yeah, I noticed
So
at
yeah.
the very beginning there was like a floating island.
That would make a tank a less than ideal vehicle.
C'est quoi ça?
So right now there's a main cast of 6.
Yeah, so as you progress through
Okay.
the story, like you do end up finding more children along the way that just kind of join up with you.
More conscripts.
If I was a child and there was a war and someone with a big tank was like, "Hey, you can just sit in here and be safe," mostly.
Be
Sure.
safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than not being in the tank.
Is it?
Maybe.
Papi, Mommy.
Allez! On va pas se laisser faire!
That's how they found the tank.
Easy.
Yep.
Back to the present.
Bordel! Aux armes!
Oh, we got a mixture now.
Yep.
Time to inflate that technique score. I do like how even the enemy tanks are
Have
like,
ears.
yeah, and like you could argue that cannon on the back's like a tail, and the muzzle of the cannon in front.
So I don't know if you'll be able to get to show this in this video, but there's also a mechanic in this game where if you are basically pushed to the edge, you can actually sacrifice a character to do basically an ultra attack, right?
Yeah.
But the goal, you would imagine, is to try to get through the game without sacrificing anybody, right?
Yeah.
And so you're going
here's
down like
the-
a timeline. Okay.
So as you can see, even if it wasn't the optimal weapon to use against the tank with the weakness to grenade launchers, because it attacked everything, it was actually better to do that because I get the tank and I delay the... I don't even know what to call that thing.
Yeah, it's like a sentry or probe droid.
Like spinny top thing.
The SSS dream eludes us. Well, I guess you got an S total rank, I suppose.
So yeah, when your units level up, it increases their modifiers for when they're on guns, and eventually they'll get access to new skills. So like Kyle will eventually get a skill that lets him actually attack all flying units at the same time. And then he gets a buff to the armor skill, which lets him take 2 ticks of the armor out at the same time instead of just 1.
And can he only do those if he's in the main position or in the support
Yes,
position?
only in the main position.
All right.
So here's the intermission thing. Limited to what I can do right now because
It's been a while since I've taken high school French, but I think that said calm before the storm. The calm before the tempest.
Mhm.
So yeah, every so often you'll get access to an intermission. You have a certain number of AP or action points to spend usually to either just talk with kids in the tank or to upgrade facilities within it. And as you progress, you unlock more facilities. So it's going
So
to...
you have to manage your AP. You can't just talk with everybody and
everything.
pick up everything, right?
And depending on who you use to explore, they'll get extra XP. So I'm going to talk with Hannah first. Yeah, he's just chowing down on that thing. Then there's the upgrade bench.
Oh, I get it. The big one is the gourmand. The spectacles is the engineer. It all checks out.
I think all the way at the back there is the kind of scrap line. So yeah, you can also use like a fishing rod to literally just drag along the ground and pick up scrap.
Sure.
So after you destroy tanks, you literally just scrape up the remnants of your foes and use them to upgrade.
Merci.
So yeah, again, who you choose lets you, because you get XP for talking with people and doing stuff at the facilities, and you get extra XP if you, oh, it didn't let me do the actual intermission stuff, but you get the idea.
Right. Finish line. Boss fight.
Prepare for combat.
And we don't know whose voice is on the radio yet.
Yep.
Attention!
Oh, it's Pretzel. Also, the obvious comparison that I have to make is Valkyria Chronicles. Another kind of one of those
Yeah.
fictionalized World War games.
Bon sang! Je peux pas prendre
The design of the tank behind Pretzel really made me think of some of the tanks in the in that series.
Yeah.
Abandonné.
Papi, Mommy.
Yeah!
On y va.
Attack!
C'est pas fait.
Savez-vous que l'été?
So before I continue, there's a really nice like vocal theme for boss fights.
I'm pretty sure Pretzel's like red cape sash was on his other shoulder
I don't know.
before. Because
They
it's a
just
mirror
mirror 'em.
image. Yeah,
Yeah.
just being pedantic, not pedantic, nitpicky.
So one thing the game does is it basically forces you to do a soul cannon tutorial.
Oh,
This guy has a nuke on his tank.
C'est mon programme! Allez!
C'est pas.
Okay, which war orphan gets to die?
with the resolve a single child. This is dark.
Yep.
Yeah, this is really morbid. Like, you actually like literally have to give one up, or will it like give you a
No,
mulligan? for
no,
the
don't
first one?
ask. Let's just see how it plays out.
Yep.
I kind of want to say not Malt because he's needed. His leadership is needed in the future.
This is going to be really bad to say, but if we want to preserve resources, this guy's eating a lot of food.
Okay, that's a hard to argue with. What does he provide? Because even Hannah's the one that actually cooks. He just eats. All right, go with
sure.
it. Do it. Boron.
We're terrible.
We are awful people. This is like the second worst choice we could make, other than the little girl.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh my, Kyle.
These are our
Of course, his name is Kyle. Come on, Kyle.
I don't get like they're already like completely on board with like exactly how this works.
Huh?
Kind of interesting. Well, I guess
It
maybe
seems
not.
like
All
he's
right.
kind of being brainwashed a bit. Weird.
That looks inviting.
Bonne question. Oh non! C'est pas.
Very normal weapon.
Diable. Arrière.
You just
Yeah, they definitely sold that.
Yep.
You hardly knew ye pretzel.
pretzel.
Yeah, basically, you don't even have the option to use the soul cannon except for boss fights, and only if you take a certain amount of damage.
Super.
I do wonder though, like, as soon as you play this and understand how this works,
C'est quoi ça?
unless you're really just trying to get to the credits, wouldn't you like basically treat the soul cannon option as like a failure? Like at that point, just
Yeah.
reload.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, you aren't forced to use it whenever it pops up.
No, I'm just saying though, like, I feel like if I got to the point, this is almost kind of like Fire Emblem. Like if you're playing with permadeath and you lose a character, I would just restart.
Mm-hmm.
Though it might be interesting to do like an Iron Man mode where it's like you're not allowing yourself, as it's like a challenge, to never load a save. I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop for this tutorial. Like, but for this instance, something is different because you had to make a choice. So far, though. So I guess this is just like the soul of the tank itself.
Yeah, I don't know yet. So
Les enfants ne saisissaient pas tout ce que la voix leur expliquait. Mais une seule chose était claire. C'était que l'un des leurs n'était plus là. Pour eux, c'était tout ce qu'il y avait à comprendre.
yeah, very, very dark.
La mine abattue, les
I guess
enfants
that
poursuivirent leur chemin.
I was really expecting it to be like psych, but nope.
You actually have to give someone up at the beginning of the game, huh?
Well, you'll see.
Don't spoil it. Yeah.
I expect him to come back. Like, since you didn't have a choice in this matter, we're not going to force you to do that. That'd be kind of ballsy if they did do that, though. Like, your starting party is really only a party of 5, and you pick.
Yeah, that would be ballsy, especially if like it really changed like the potential
The rest
like
of the
outcome of
game.
the story. Yeah, like what if you sacrificed the malt early on,
Malt.
and then the story had to be written around him from that point forward.
You're gonna die.
And then
You can't even do anything. Good job, Super Tank. Look what you did.
I wonder if this seems like it could easily be something like that was initially conceived with the roguelike,
Yeah.
where it's like, all right, next time we'll do it. Yeah, so even this is like telling you you've not done it properly if you have to sacrifice someone.
I think now it'll let me actually do the intermission stuff.
Yeah, you can clearly see the roguelike implementation here, even though that's not how it ended up.
That's interesting that it's actually like incorporated into the story.
So yeah, link events, and it increases the support effects. Um,
But only if those two are paired.
mhm. Which means that you kind of have to make decisions because, especially later on, units can get damaged in battle, and you have to spend action points to recover them. So sometimes it's maybe a good idea to try and diversify, like who like can partner up with which characters. But if you spread yourself too thin, then you might be too weak, and that's action points that you could have better spent upgrading your tank or upgrading other facilities or using other facilities and stuff like that. There's a lot of resource management, especially later on.
Mm.
So these are very short things, which makes sense because there's like 3 for each pairing and there's like 12 kids. So that's a
Factorials.
lot of events. Yep. Link events. Basically, once you clear a link event, you get access to a link attack, and then each time you see another link event, the link attack powers up. And there's this heart gauge that shows up whenever 2 units are paired up in battle that have had a link event. And once it fills up, you can do a link attack, which is basically like a super attack. And finally, I can actually use my action points. So I can upgrade the ship, or I said ship, I mean tank. But you can upgrade like the different damage values for the machine gun, the grenade launcher cannon, the armor, and all that sort of stuff. But it requires specific materials you get from killing enemies and also from the junk line. So one thing I can do, I can upgrade probably the machine gun and the cannon and the armor.
And it looks like some materials have multiple uses, so you have to decide what goes where.
And then I'll do scrap fishing.
Oh, so that's if you need more materials outside of battle. All right.
You actually can't change the difficulty yet, so just execute. So it's not that much materials, but it can be the difference.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
to top you off and give you exactly what you need or
So I
whatever.
can't cook yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the rest of the time just chatting with these. Actually, I'll switch character to Hannah, and I will talk with Kyle.
Yo.
So you can see she gets XP when you talk with people. That works for everyone, obviously. And then every so often when you talk with a character, there's a chance to deepen your bond. And if you give the right response, you'll be able to get extra bonding points or XP from that one.
Basically, more bang for your buck
action
for a
point.
single AP. Oh, you
So
got
this
it.
guy's egotistical, so basically got to stroke that ego.
Yep.
And coincidentally, I also got a link event.
Huh? Huh?
Oh oui?
Non. Laisse-moi tranquille.
Yeah, pretty simple. Not too elaborate.
Yep.
It's weird that they, well, not weird. Interesting that they frame it like a stage play with the curtains.
Yep.
Salut.
That's because you can actually review any link events from like the menu.
Tu vas bien?
So even if you're like in a town between chapters, you'll be able to review them if you want to.
I'm guessing you're gonna have to say I kind of understand.
Parfait. Salut. Affirmative.
So that was an even shorter one.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's understandable
After all-
considering the volume of the number
Yep.
they have to cover.
Plus, they don't want these intermission sections to take so long that it's like
Oh
overshadowing
yeah, then you have
the
then you
actual-
have the three houses problem where you have the monastery, and it just
Yeah,
takes
you
forever.
spend like hours in the monastery before you get to do anything else.
Let's see if that's enough to upgrade anything else. Maybe. Aha! I can upgrade the grenade launcher now. And the reactor. Or I have to choose which. I'm gonna react. I'm gonna do the reactor.
C'est pratique. C'est fini.
And have one more, so I'm going to switch to. Guess I'll just talk with Malt. And each intermission, characters will move around, so they won't always be in the same space. Sometimes they'll be doing different things. Really kind of makes it feel
That's
like
a nice
you're actually
touch.
doing things.
They're just not affixed to like Boron's always in the kitchen because that's where he belongs or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, now for the boss fight, but for real this time. And one thing that I do enjoy about the boss fights is that they always have some sort of gimmick you need to consider. So for this guy's tank, you might have noticed, but he had a kind of like, not really a watchtower thing, but something sticking up. That's like
Yeah.
a command center.
Rendezvous.
And I'm going to skip this because this is the same.
Right.
But what you want to do for this one,
Allons-y.
Find its weakness. Oh, so this one they kind of.
yeah, this one they tell you, but the rest of
Yeah.
them they don't.
All right, it makes sense.
So when you defend for the next 3 turns, it'll be active. So first things first, you want to, one thing I'll do is I'll actually start taking down the armor of that thing.
Oh, so that tower repairs the body.
Yep. So obviously you can see that you really want to take down the tower thing first. So that'll
Easy.
be out of commission for a bit. So this boss fight is relatively straightforward, but even now you can see that there is a strategy involved to it, and it just gets more and more complicated the further on you go.
I do like how it has like a unique animation to show that the tower is being repaired. How it rotated back.
Oh, I should have attacked. So next turn, he'll have access to a link attack. Well, they'll have access to. Defend here, All-Among Strike. So that's the thing that did a ton of damage before. Obviously, if you defend, it does less damage. It's still not great.
It was like less. It was like less than half, maybe half.
Yep. So one thing you want to do here is link attack because it attacks all enemies, and I kind of want to deal damage to the main body while also being able to damage the top of the machine.
Right. Is each pair a unique link attack?
Not entirely unique, but there's like modifiers.
Okay.
Alright, so
So that had to damage and delay and took off armor,
yep.
and that'll finish off the armor.
This guy's probably gonna charge. If not, I still can deal with it. Oh, no, yeah, that. So as you can see, now I could use the soul can if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. One thing I can do, though, I
At
don't
this point,
need
I feel
to.
like you could just defeat him before he defeats you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that healed more than I thought it would.
Yep.
Sorry, was there a
And-
consequence for using the soul cannon?
Yes, you lose a war orphan.
Damn, that's pretty brutal. I wasn't reading that text. It was kind of skimmed pretty fast.
Care too much.
That dude really is a douchebag to
Could have
Boron.
popped him.
Ah, yes, when the kids realize that they just killed someone.
Pretty obvious.
And then that's what it ends off with right before the results screen.
It's like, you did a good job.
Damn, Boron's like sword status 100.
I think that's damage. But yeah, so as you can see, when you level up, sometimes you get new skills. So May just got Quick Assault, which is a 2-hit attack that also gives you a speed increase after you use it. So it means that on the timeline, you'll have less gap between attacking.
Your actions, yeah.
Les enfants réalisaient que s'ils voulaient sauver leur famille, ils n'avaient pas d'autre choix que de monter à bord de cette machine, d'affronter l'armée Berman et de prendre la vie de soldats ennemis.
And this is where we get the title card, maybe.
Already kind of got it.
The loading screen pretty much is the title card.
Oh mon Dieu. Frappés par cette cruelle réalité, les enfants se résignèrent. Alors c'est ça, la guerre.
It's a little bit ham-fisted, but I'm okay with it.
Yep.
And this feels like it's kind of retreading ground we were already aware of.
Well, they're talking to the kids. Like, we know this, but the kids don't
Oh,
know.
I see. All right.
I'm guessing there's multiple endings in this game because of how the game works,
Yeah.
right?
Well, especially if there's more of those like artwork, comic book style scenes. If it has to factor in like certain characters no longer being present.
Les enfants ne saisissaient pas tout ce que la voix leur expliquait. Mais une chose était, s'ils cédaient à l'hésitation, ils mourraient tous. Cette terrible réalité s'abattit lourdement sur leurs épaules encore fragiles.
So that's the end of the first chapter, but there is a little bit of information from the Burman army.
Rip Colonel Pretzel.
So yeah, at
Okay,
the end of each
okay.
chapter, there's
I was gonna say, just seeing it with that art style with like all the color built back in kind of just took me by surprise.
yeah. So each chapter's end card is by a different artist in the
Oh, okay.
Japanese kimono, K-mono, Kemono community, which is interesting. So I can actually show you in the gallery. I think the gallery is a system setting, so even though I'm in a different save file, I can actually see it. Or if not, I can just hop into another one. But yeah, in between chapters, you can enter a village and exchange items, gather information, that sort of stuff. So let's see if I can check the gallery. So yeah, just stuff
Well,
we've
that's
already
kind of
seen
cool. That's
before.
kind of cool.
So Berman report says like kind of like some information behind the scenes. You can rewatch any of the link events and see the end cards again. One thing that's interesting, so market, you can exchange stuff you can exchange materials for other materials. Not going to do that. As you're talking to these people in the village, you can get items. And one thing that's kind of interesting is that for each chapter, if you talk to them, you'll get access to this little comic book thing called The Adventures of Sucre, or however you pronounce it. And each chapter, you get an additional like little chapter of it. So it's like a little interesting kind of, not really, well, it doesn't have anything to do with the plot as far as I can tell, but it's a little cute thing that you can read, like kind of like a breather between each chapter.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a respite.
Yep. So it's cute. Obviously, there's
So that's how many chapters there are. Now I know.
well, no, there's 10 chapters, but I guess maybe the last 2 chapters are, you know how things can go in RPGs
Right, yeah.
sometimes. So yeah, I think this is a good stopping point. There is other aspects of the game. One thing you didn't see in the first chapter is that the area split. So like the traversal timeline outside of battles, in chapter 1, it's just a straight line. But in other chapters, there will be moments where it'll split, and there will be a safe route and a normal route, or a normal route and a dangerous route, and stuff like that. And you have to kind of decide, okay, I'm fine with attacking more enemies because I want to get more materials I can use to upgrade things. Or you can say, oh, I'm kind of in a bad spot right now, so I'm not going to take any risks, and I'll just do the safe
Right,
route.
I have
stuff
low
like that.
I have low health, so I'm gonna take the safe route. Even though I want to get more stuff, I don't want to risk it
Yeah.
or whatever.
And then eventually you can find these ruins on the like main map that you can actually have some of the kids disembark the tank, and it's a little. It's not a major gameplay component, but it's a little like palette cleanser where you can explore these ruins. They're very, very short, like less than 5 minutes, and it's just get a bunch of materials and stuff like that. But overall, I've been enjoying this quite a lot. I guess, do any of you have any last things you want to say or questions or anything?
Well, I was gonna say it's like you probably don't have the luxury to revisit any of these locations. You just got to start over from scratch, right?
I don't know. I'd imagine you probably do have to start over from scratch, though, unless there's a new game plus. But right.
I was just gonna say I can see already how it could build up like the different like the armor rating, the attack types, different like bespoke mechanics for the boss fights. I can easily see like how it can ramp up and really like become like almost a strategy RPG in several ways, at least in terms of the combat.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that it does ramp up, and I've been very pleasantly surprised, especially later on, just how difficult the game gets. Like, they said that it was going to actually require some strategy, and even early on in, like, the tutorial, you can see, oh, you have to consider these things. It's obviously not going to be super difficult at first, but over time, it just ramps up, and, like, by the time you're in, like, the 5th or 6th chapter, you really do have to consider things. It's not as simple as just, like, kind of bum rushing through everything. You do have to consider not just the, attack types that are part of each gun at the time. You also want to consider, okay, which specific unit do you want to have on the gun and which do you want to have in support? Because sometimes aspects like the skills they have or the support skill they give can be really useful.
Right.
So.
And also just like attrition for like getting through a chapter's timeline, the different nodes on that map.
Yeah,
like taking the least amount of damage before getting to the boss fight or whatever.
Yeah, one other thing, and this is the last thing. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but if you take too much damage, like specific units will even get injured, and if they're injured, you have to swap them out. Because if they get hit again while they're injured, they get knocked out, which means that you have to rest them in the tank and in intermission. So even if you have like an optimal setup, if something goes like wrong and you just get injured, you have to swap things up, and it's like a literal war of attrition.
Yeah. No, but thanks for taking the chance to show us this. I think this was kind of a good, unique, original candidate for putting together another casual mode. So, really interesting title here.
Yep. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and look forward to our full review. And probably the timing for this, it'll go up like the day after this. But anyways, have a good one, and yeah.
See you next time.